I 34F suspect my husband 34M is having an affair with our mutual friend 29F and I'm not sure how to proceed. My husband and I have had our ups and downs throughout our relationship of 12 years, but we have always stuck together and helped raise each other up when we were down. We have a mutual friend, we'll call her Jade, who is married to my husband's friend, who I will call Fred. A few years ago my husband and I went through a really rough patch where we separated for a few months. During that time we were able to work out our differences and he moved back home. Things were a lot better than before the split, but we still had our ups and downs. During that time I confided in two of my close friends, Jade and Mary. Jade was always pretty quiet about the whole thing, which I assumed was due to the fact that she and her husband Fred were also friends with my husband. Mary was quite vocal, which is how her personality is. She has no filter and tells it how it is, whether you want to hear it or not. After my husband had moved back home I noticed that Jade acted oddly around him. She would turn red or act slightly flirtatious. My husband never reciprocated or even seemed to notice, so I assumed it was all in my head. About a year ago Jade and Fred separated, and Jade moved into a house in my neighborhood. I thought this was odd because Jade and Fred lived about an hour away. During this time Jade would always call my husband and ask him for favors. To come help move some boxes, or do some minor home repairs. No big deal, right? He was the only male she knew in the general area. But I noticed her odd behavior seemed to increase. Her conversations with him on social media increased tenfold, and the frequency in which she texted me dropped. Also her flirting seemed to increase. One day Mary was over my house and we were hanging out and Jade stopped by. Us three girls were in the living room talking and my husband came in the room for something. I don't remember why now, but Jade's whole demeanor changed. She sat up straight, sort of fixed her hair a bit, all that. I noticed but again thought I was just being paranoid. Jade left not much later. After Jade left, Mary turned to me and said Jade acts so weird around him. If I didn't know any better I'd say she had a crush on him. I was shocked that someone else had noticed. I confided in Mary that I had been noticing strange behavior from Jade for a long time, but my husband seemed to be totally clueless. We had a conversation about it, and I felt better knowing it wasn't in my head. I did not feel threatened by her advances or question my husband's relationship with her in any way. Later that night I jokingly mentioned to my husband what Mary and I had discussed. He seemed shocked and thought the whole thing was ridiculous. He did concede it was strange that of all the places Jade could have moved during her split from Fred, she chose our neighborhood. He denied having an inappropriate relationship with Jade, and I believed him. We joked about the absurdity of the whole situation. Fast forward a year and Jade is back with Fred, and Jade's friendship with my husband has seemed to grow stronger. They talk online a lot and text each other quite frequently. I never accused my husband of having an affair, but their friendship did cause me to raise my eyebrows. Jade rarely speaks to me anymore, and my husband rarely speaks of Jade. Now I'm about to admit to something I'm not proud of, but my curiosity was getting the better of me. So I checked my husband's private messages on the social media site in which they talk. There were a lot of messages, mostly from his friends and a few from me, but none from Jade, dating back over a year. Edit to clarify, the messages are threads, so even if I don't message him for 3 weeks, it will show up in a single thread with my old messages. I felt like a terrible person but breathed a sigh of relief. Sort of. I still had a nagging feeling, so I checked his email. I know I'm a shitty person for doing this. He had an email from the social media site saying he had received a private message from Jade the previous night at 11:30 p.m. The message just said, "You awake?" But I had just looked at his private messages and there wasn't one from Jade. He deleted it. He kept all the others but deleted the one from Jade or many, since the messages are in threads, and he deleted the thread. How peculiar. My relationship with my husband is currently in one of our rough patches. We go through waves but are always able to make it work because we are in love, but this time it's different. Rather than discuss our problems, my husband has started saying things like we are too different to make this work. We have very different personalities, but it has always been one of our favorite things about our marriage. He is able to pick up in areas in which I am king, and vice versa. I was completely shocked to hear him say this. He has mentioned having problems with my personality that he has never once in 12 years had a problem with. Every trait he is picking out are things that he has in common with Jade. For example, I don't drink or go out, Jade does. I don't like the same music as him, Jade does. Little things like that. I asked him if he wanted to move out, and he started panicking, saying he didn't know what he wants. Basically, he is acting like he doesn't know who to decide between. Of course, this is all speculation. That's why I am here. If I ask either one of them if there is something going on between them, of course they will deny it. If I ask Fred if Jade has been acting oddly lately, I will seem like a crazy person. I don't know how to find out what's going on. How do I find out whether or not they are having an affair? Can I? Edit. I checked our phone records online, and while my husband and I were having a very tense and heated text conversation today, he was also texting back and forth with a number that I don't recognize. I typed it into my phone, but I don't have a contact for that number, so it might not be Jade. I say might because Fred is very wealthy, and I wouldn't be surprised if Jade has two phones. As I was leaving work, I called Mary and asked her to call the number and ask who it was, to pretend she had the wrong number. She did and said that there was no answer and the voicemail message was a generic one with no name. I'm going to do some detective work tonight, and I will update as I come across anything. Edit 4. I just remembered Fred is an Apple iPhone genius, so Jade would likely know better than to do anything unsavory on her iPhone because Fred would find out. I'm leaning towards her having a second phone, but again, no proof. I know most are convinced he is having an affair, and while I feel better knowing I'm not crazy for thinking so, this absolutely sucks. But I don't feel like I have enough definitive proof yet. I need concrete evidence. Edit 2. We work opposite shifts. He's home alone all day. Jade lives an hour away but doesn't work, so she has the time to make the drive. I'm thinking of setting up a nanny cam. Any suggestions on which one? Edit 3. Mary has a friend that runs a business and pays for background check services. She's going to see if she can find out whose phone number he was texting today. Edit 5. Comments are apparently locked for some reason. I don't know why, but I will post an update in a couple days when I can. Thank you everyone for your advice. Update: I 34F suspect my husband 34M is having an affair with our mutual friend 29F, and I'm not sure how to proceed. So yesterday I tracked my husband with GPS and watched where he was going during the day. When I saw that he was in a car traveling fast down a road to out of town, I casually texted him and asked what he was up to. He said he was walking to the store, which was in the opposite direction of where he was headed. I watched him all day, stopping here and there, going out to eat with her, traveling all over the place. I would periodically text him to make conversation, and he would lie the entire time. At one point he said he was just walking around the neighborhood thinking about us. My blood was boiling. I knew he was with someone who had an iPhone because there were no calls or texts made that morning, so he must have communicated via iMessage. Jade has an iPhone. I highly suspected he was with her, but I had no proof. After he was dropped off at home, he texted me saying he was sorry for being distant today, he was just doing a lot of thinking. I didn't tell him I knew he was lying the whole day because I had planned to gather more evidence. Later in the evening I couldn't take it anymore. I asked him where he was all day, and he said, "What do you mean? I told you I was walking around." In my rage I said, "I know you are lying. I know where you've been." He admitted to spending a little time with Jade, that they went and grabbed something to eat. I told him I knew about everywhere he went. I knew about the late night phone calls while I was watching him yesterday. I checked the phone records and saw an unbelievable amount of calls going back and forth between them. I don't know why I didn't think to check the call records on Monday. I knew about the secret private messages on social media. I knew about it all. He confessed that he and Jade have gotten really close and spend a lot of time together, talking. At first he said it was innocent. I told him if it was innocent, he wouldn't be lying and sneaking around. He agreed and admitted he knew what he was doing was wrong. I texted Fred last night and told him everything I knew. He said he had been uncomfortable with their friendship for a while, but didn't know if I was or if I even knew. We talked for a while, but I don't know what they are going to do. All I know is I am getting a divorce. My husband claims their relationship was never physical, but I can never trust him again. No matter what he does or where he goes, I will always question who he is with and if he's lying to me. I cannot and will not spend my life tracking my husband and making sure he is where he says he is, and isn't sneaking around with other women. I deleted and blocked Jade off of all my social media accounts. I didn't text her or say anything to her. I know if I even tried I would end up saying some pretty foul stuff to her, which she deserves, but I'm better than that. So not only did I lose an extremely itty friend in this whole thing, I am also losing my best friend, the love of my life, and the father of my children. I am destroyed. Redditor's reaction story 2 after. Redditor 1, I hear Fred is available. Op answer, lol, moving on to someone else is the absolute furthest thing from my mind. I need to figure out how I am going to survive with half the income, half the help, and all the responsibilities. But I've been ugly crying for about 20 hours straight, so thank you for making me smile. Redditor 2, no matter what he does or where he goes, I will always question who he is with and if he's lying to me. I cannot and will not spend my life tracking my husband and making sure he is where he says he is, and isn't sneaking around with other women. Shit. Sorry it turned out like this, Op, but you're right about trust. To me it always reminds me of that Brady Bunch episode where they broke the vase and glued it back together. It still ended up leaking. Op answer, to me it always reminds me of that Brady Bunch episode where they broke the vase and glued it back together. It still ended up leaking. What a silly analogy, but you're completely right. Redditor 3, my husband claims their relationship was never physical, yet you know they spent the night together more than once. He is, of course, still lying because he's a liar. Just not a very good one. Story 2, I-26F opened my husband's 32 meters Snapchat and it was a very explicit picture and caption from a girl. He's sitting not 20 feet from me and I don't know how to handle this. Well, title kind of says it all. Throwaway because my husband is active on Reddit. He's probably on it now. Here goes. I've been with my husband for 5 years, married for 1.5. I've never once doubted his fidelity. He's great. Super smart, funny, handsome, and, I thought, loyal. He's never given me reason to doubt him or be suspicious. I thought it was kind of odd when he downloaded Snapchat. He's not big on social media. I have one, but I'm not very active. We rarely snap each other. He said his friends were really active and he liked it better than Facebook, so. As I said, I've never had any reason not to trust him. So I thought nothing of it. This morning, my husband was in the shower and left his phone on my nightstand. I was half asleep when his phone started chirping and woke me up. We both had the same phone and ringtone for text messages. Not knowing that he had put his phone on my nightstand for whatever reason, I thought it was my phone in my half-asleep state. Despite his black phone case, mine is green, I didn't even notice and I looked at who had texted. It said Mom. Okay, my mom texted me, I can ignore that until I'm actually awake. But under that was a Snapchat notification. A snap from someone named Roxy. I was like, who the F is Roxy and why is she Snapchatting me? I opened it and bam, it's a picture of a pussy. And not the meowing kind with 4 legs and a tail. The caption said, I want your tongue inside me again. Now, I immediately thought it was a mistake. But I was alert now after being awoken by a Vilva. I pretty quickly realized that this was my husband's phone. I felt like I was going to crap the bed and started to sweat. I looked at his contacts on Snapchat and she has a yellow heart next to her name. I looked up WTF that means and it means they are best friends. WTF. I feel like I'm going to be sick. I didn't do any other snooping because honestly, I know what I'll find. I just don't understand how he could do this. We're happy. I thought we were happy. We have S-time at least 4 times a week. Here's the real kicker, Reddit. I'm almost 12 weeks pregnant with our first child. He's sitting in the recliner about 20 feet from me and I just can't find the words to confront him. How do I say what I need to say? There is no way I am somehow overreacting or misreading this situation, is there? I'm heartbroken and don't know what to do. Update. First and foremost, thank you all for your love and support. I feel it from here. Honestly, thank you. It's amazing to me that strangers care so much about my baby and me. Love back to all of you. So, husband knows something is up. I don't know if he saw that I opened a Snapchat from Roxy and is afraid of what I saw and afraid to bring it up, or if he's clueless and can just tell I'm upset about something. He's been asking me if I'm okay or if something is wrong about every hour. I told him my sister was having a hard time today. Ironically, she just broke up with her boyfriend. Why? He cheated. And I was going to go over to her place for dinner. I live in Pacific time zone and to spend the night with her. I'm here now. My sister is 20 and a whiz at the social media thing. She stalked his Facebook to see if this Roxy person popped up anywhere. She looked through his friends. Bingo, we found her. Well, at least pretty sure. I didn't see her face in the Snapchat. The screen was too full of her crotch. She's Facebook friends with my husband's good friend. She is listed as a receptionist at my husband's friend's law firm. My husband works a couple blocks from the law firm and he stops by often to grab lunch with his friend. That would explain how they met. Still formulating a plan on confrontation, trying to get as much information as possible first. My sister wants to burn his life to the ground, and honestly I do too. But I'm going to address this in the most adult way possible so that I can walk away from him with my head held high and be a deserving role model to my baby girl. Not sure it's a girl, just a feeling. Good news? My uncle is a lawyer. Most of what he deals with are divorces. I've already contacted him and asked if we could discuss some potential legal issues. Didn't specify what yet. Feels like something I should do in person during our meeting. I told him it was urgent. We are meeting tomorrow morning. I will try to update as much as I can, and from the bottom of my heart, thank you all again, internet strangers. Update. Hey everyone. So because this was a throwaway account, I never linked my email. I am unable to post an update because the link to approve it requires me to re-sign in. So, I created another throwaway account to be able to send an update. The username for my new throwaway account is thisgirlisonawire121. Just so you know, the update is real and not someone else. Another update. Never mind what I said above, my update on this account was approved. Update. I-26F opened my husband's 32 meters Snapchat and it was a very explicit picture and caption from a girl. He's sitting not 20 feet from me and I don't know how to handle this. Link to original post. Again, I am overwhelmed by the support and love I've received from everyone. It feels great to be comforted and cheered on by you all. Thank you so much. So, husband cheated. He has been since maybe 2 weeks before last Christmas, according to him. I was very calm when confronting him and took the advice many of you gave me by telling him that he needs to explain to me who Roxy is and why she is his best friend on Snapchat. His face gave him away immediately, but he still tried to lie to me at first. He said that she works with his friend and they met when his friend invited her out to lunch with the two of them. At first, he claimed he only met her about 2 months ago. He said that they're best friends because he doesn't receive many Snapchats from others and she is extremely active on the app. He said she just sends randoms and is really into fitness, so she sends a lot of inspirational snaps on being healthy and living a better life. He said that every once in a while, he'll send her something back, like a picture of a cheeseburger or something just to tease her about her level of health consciousness. First, I asked why he didn't just tell me about her. He said he didn't even think about it because she's just an acquaintance, not even a friend. Then I asked if he'd ever received anything even remotely inappropriate from her. He answered with, "Not on purpose." I'm assuming he went with that because he knew I opened that Snapchat and he probably knew it was a bad one. I asked what "not on purpose" means. He got very defensive. Started raising his voice and saying he doesn't need to explain what that means, that sometimes people accidentally send the wrong Snapchats to the wrong people. Then he had the nerve to say something along the lines of, "I feel like I'm on trial here. People warned me that you'd get crazy when you're pregnant, but I never thought it'd be this bad." Now, as some of you mentioned in my last post, it seems amazing that I'm able to keep such a level head. That is because I was raised by a mother who always told me that you never accomplish anything with anger. That you can be emotional, passionate, upset, etc. without ever raising your voice. Messages received quietly and concisely are just as loud and clear as messages received through yelling and screaming. That is how I have lived my life for 26 years, with the exception of just a few blow-ups. I am human. This moment was an exception. I didn't exactly yell and scream, but I became furious. For him to try to blame this on me being pregnant? How unoriginal and offensive. Long story short, he said he'd never seen me this crazy and I told him that I'd never seen a picture of another girl's pussy on my husband's Snapchat before. He came back with that I shouldn't have looked at his Snapchat. I came back with that it was an accident, but even if it hadn't been, there shouldn't be any reason he's receiving Snapchats like that for me to see accidentally or not in the first place. I told him that I may be pregnant, but I'm also an intelligent person and I am his wife, so I knew he was lying and I deserved to know the truth. I asked if I could see his text messages to see if he's been texting Roxy. He said sure. No messages. Then I asked to see his Facebook messages. He looked like a kid caught with his hand in the cookie jar. He told me no. I asked why. He finally broke and started to cry. Told me he couldn't let me see the messages because they would hurt me. Because they were inappropriate. Then it all came out. They screwed in the backseat of her car the first night they met. This is already long, so I'll spare you all the details. But it's been an ongoing affair for months. No, they did not always use protection. Although I was recently screened for STIs, I'll be getting checked again in light of this information. My uncle already assured me that if he was unfaithful, we would cream him in court. Really, the only thing I'm willing to fight him tooth and nail for is our home. I put a lot of effort and money into making this home my dream space. I won't be seeking spousal support, but I will seek child support. I'm obviously heartbroken and told him to go stay in a hotel or with Roxy. For all I cared, I confronted him last night. My mom and sister stayed with me last night and let me sob all over them for hours. Right now I'm sort of numb, but I'm also thinking very clearly. I know what my next 10 moves are and I feel supported and secure in my decision to leave him and keep my baby. A few things I just wanted to clarify. My husband is not a lawyer. His good friend is. There was some concern for my success in court if my husband is a lawyer. His friend is in environmental law, so, while I'm sure he can provide some advice, he will not be my husband's divorce lawyer. There were suggestions of me terminating my pregnancy. I fully support the right to choose, and I would probably terminate the pregnancy if I was in a different financial position and lacked a support system. However, I work as a marketing manager for a large company. Not only does this allow me the privilege of working from home about 50% of the time, but it also grants me financial independence. I do not rely on my husband for money, and I really never have. He works in tech, so, while he makes a good salary, I will have no need for spousal support. I have a phenomenal support system. This baby will be loved so dearly by so many. Yes, I will have to deal with my husband for the rest of my life if I have this child, and it will make future relationships for me more difficult, but it is worth it. I've wanted this baby since day one, and I am her mother, which means that I am strong enough to raise her alone because I have to be strong enough. Here's to hoping for a speedy divorce. I'm ready to be done with this marriage. Which is crazy because just a few days ago I thought my life was as close to perfect as you could get. Edit, formatting, update. I know it has been only a short time since I posted this update, but I need to tell you all how amazing all of you are. Wow, this much support is just wow. I wish I could reply to all of your comments and messages, but because of the volume, I'm just going to say thank you from the bottom of my heart to each and every one of you who read my posts, who commented, thought of me, wished my baby and me the best, messaged me, and anything else. I am currently at my parents' condo, sitting outside at their pool, sunbathing my little baby bump and reading each and every one of your amazing and empowering comments. I just want you all to have that image, that you have made me happy in content in a time when I am short on both. This is proof that love does exist, even if it doesn't within my, now over, relationship. And that is a powerful thing. Love to you all. Me again. I was going to post more details on what happened during the confrontation with my husband, etc., but then I decided against it. I should keep some details private. It's likely my husband has seen this post. I will leave you with this. My dad and I were up late talking last night, and, as usual, he had the perfect thing to say to me. He told me that weak people are afraid of strong people. He told me to keep on terrifying the weak ones. That way, the only people who won't fear you are the bravest, strongest of people, and those are the people who are worthy of you. Then he said my husband is a spineless turd who couldn't kick it with the strongest woman in the world. Just thought I'd leave you with that and encourage everyone to be terrifying by being strong and not standing for nonsense. This is the last I will post on the matter. I have a lot ahead of me with everything and will probably go quiet on Reddit for a while. Time to get ready for court and to be terrifying. Thank you, thank you, thank you again. Love to all of you and best wishes. Love, T. Redditors' reactions. Redditor 1, I've been thinking of you since I saw the original post a few days ago. It broke my heart to hear this. You deserve 1,000 times better than a man like him. You've handled the entire thing with utter grace by the sounds of things. I for one could not keep my cool, especially if I had pregnancy hormones whizzing around my body. I am flawed by your measured response and strength to leave someone who quite clearly doesn't deserve you. That is true strength. Your child is lucky to have such a strong mother and role model. All the best for the future. You deserve happiness. X. Redditor follow-up. Although I feared the worst, I was expecting that he was going to be cheating. What I was not expecting was the op to be such a badass. What really struck me was having the next 10 moves planned. Up, you are going to be an incredible mother. I know your path forward is rocky, but I also know that nothing is ever really going to get you down. You've got this. Redditor 2, I'm so angry on your behalf. My eyebrows and blood pressure shot up at this part. Then he had the nerve to say something along the lines of, I feel like I'm on trial here. People warned me that you'd get crazy when you're pregnant, but I never thought it'd be this bad. You're going to be so much better off without him. Your baby will be greatly loved, and you'll be a kick-ass mom. Good luck to you. Redditor follow-up, yeah, like she's the crazy one? He could have passed on an STD to his wife and unborn child with his negligence. That's the crazy part. Redditor 3, I am so sorry to hear this, but it sounds like you're a tough and strong woman. You will get through this. Duck that guy. Sending my best wishes your way. Redditor follow-up, came here to say almost the exact same. I've wanted this baby since day one and I am her mother, which means that I am strong enough to raise her alone because I have to be strong enough. She sounds like a kick-ass woman. Duck that guy. He's not worthy.